Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online series 7 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Yesterday we used a really interesting team with Pokemon like Spectre, Entei, Terrakion, Choice Scarf Vanillux, and Arctozolt, so I'll be playing a couple more games with it today. You can learn more about the team in the description below, and let's just get started. For the first game today, kind of reminds me actually of the last game from yesterday in which we went up against Suicune with Tailwind and then Metagross. I think Tailwind is not a very good matchup for this team. We went up against like 4 different Tailwind users yesterday, so the trend continues here. Yesterday we really ran the gauntlet of Tailwind users too. We played against Whimsicott, Suicune, Latias even. So it's not super ideal. Yeah, it's not great. I think what I want to do is put on a lot of pressure with Metagross against what's next to Tornadus. Should my opponent lead Tornadus, which I expect them to. So, Spectre, Metagross, Entei, and I'm thinking Vanillux actually. Yeah, I think like there are just too many steel types for Arctozolt to really feel comfortable coming out here. And there are a lot of steel types in the format in general, right? So the beauty of Arctozolt Vanillux is against teams that don't have great resistances. Like if you don't have great steels or fires, those two can just completely sweep through. But the problem here is not only does my opponent have great resistances, but they also have Tailwind. And Tailwind just completely invalidates both of these because then you just outspeed and one-shot them with Pokemon like Heatran or Metagross, for example. So at least like with Spectre and Metagross, I can put on a lot of offensive pressure from turn 1 and go from there. So, let's see. I'm expecting Tornadus here. It's going to be Tornadus Fini. Okay, Fini's interesting. It's actually not as scary as, say, Metagross coming out outright. Because, like, I could just Bulldoze Max Quake turn 1. Wait, actually, why Max Quake? Why not just Steel Spike Fini for a defense boost? That seems better, right? Okay, let's go Bulldoze, Max, Steel Spike. Because what we need to do is boost ourselves up in preparation for the Metagross in my opponent's back. I guess they could also just bring Heatran, but like there's no way you don't have Metagross or Heatran in the back. It's one of the two at least, if not both. Like I don't think Landorus looks super good into this matchup, so you probably don't bring that because you can't even intimidate the Metagross or the Entei. And you don't want to bring it against Hail Stuff. So I'd be surprised to see that come out. I guess the one reason to have gone Quake here into Fini is if they hard switch into Heatran, which would be a really aggressive play. I just really want the defense boost because every single boost helps out so much against the potential Landorus or Metagross. I just mentioned Landorus, I don't think will be in the back, but helps out against the potential Metagross in the back. So I'm expecting Tailwind turn 1 here. Fini maybe protects or Calm Minds. This could have been an interesting decision to not max the Metagross solely because, you know, I don't think it'll take much damage this turn, but I would still prefer to max it just to get these boosts. Okay, so they don't protect Fini, so I think this is not bad, especially if they're going for like a Calm Mind. It's just gonna be Moonblast. Okay, that's fine. I'll take that. Yeah, Spectre actually takes that pretty well. Not bad. So the most important thing here is I get +2 on the Metagross immediately, and I would guess Steel Spike picks up the KO here too, so now the question is, what is my opponent? Do you have Heatran and Metagross in the back? Because if so, you can just bring out the Heatran, and that could be a problem. Heatran would be a pretty big problem here, actually. I guess then the question is, does Max Flare one-shot Metagross? Because if not, then maybe it's okay, because then I can actually just Bulldoze Quake. Bulldoze gets rid of your Sugar Berry, Quake just KOs you afterwards. But granted, Tornadus could just go for an attack here as well. And, you know, normally Tornadus is special. You run Air Slash or Hurricane. So I'd like to see Metagross come out here because it indicates to me Heatran's not in the back. But I guess now I think about it, would you really not bring Heatran into this matchup? That seems kind of odd. Okay, what's coming out? Yep, there's the Heatran. Okay. Extreme Speed, Bulldoze, Sacred Fire. I don't think Max Flare one-shots, so I kind of want to just Bulldoze. If I survive a Hurricane, actually, like, Bulldoze Max Guard may be the play here, because I get rid of a Shuka Berry, and I drop your speed. Now, the speed drop doesn't really matter, but yeah. Max Guard is super obvious, though. But the thing is, even if Max Flare doesn't KO me this turn, it's a 2-hit KO, right? And I think that's really bad news. Okay, they Dynamax Heatran. One really cool play they could make, actually, is just straight up Max Flare into the Spectrier, because then you set up the Sun for the late game. Although then I could actually bring in the Vanillux to change the weather again. I bet they have both Heatran and Metagross, and based off how turn 1 went, they would switch in whichever one, I didn't get the boost from. So that would make a lot of sense to me. Okay, they go for Air Slash. Let's see if we can survive this. We took Moonblast pretty well, so I'm thinking maybe. That's enough for a KO. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, they went Max Flare. I think if we survive that, that'd be huge, because then I get the Bulldoze off. Okay, we go out into the Entei now, I think. Okay, actually now, though, if you don't one-shot us with Max Flare, like, Bulldoze into Quake, maybe it's just a KO here. But now I'm worried about Metagross being my opponent's last one, and then you just Brutal Swing to activate your policy. And then just Earthquake. Now, I do have the Shuca Berry here on Entei. That might be a really big deal, actually. But, yeah. I think because this team does not have Fake Out, going up against Tailwind has been somewhat of a struggle, and we've run into almost non-stop Tailwind matchups in the last 2 days playing with this team. It's not been very friendly for Arctozoa. Ooh, they actually just go for Air Slash, and we dodge it, too. Okay, let's see if Max Flare one-shots us here. We survive. Okay, do we KO ourselves from Bulldoze, though? That would be scary. Okay, I'm mainly going for it here to get rid of a potential Shuca on the Heatran so I can Quake it, yeah. Alright, Metagross. Nice. Metagross hangs on. Max Quake should be a KO then onto the Heatran, which is huge. Obviously, a lucky dodge with the Air Slash there. It wasn't going to KO us or anything, but it obviously can, flinch us there. So we managed to get the knockout onto Heatran. Okay, nice. So I'm expecting Metagross as my opponent's last one. Because we have the Shuca Berry, actually, even if you Brutal Swing EQ, maybe it's fine. Because I can just go Sacred Fire. And Earthquake shouldn't KO us because we have the Shuca. So that was clutch. Metagross hanging out with just a little bit of HP from the combination of that. What's the last one? I expect Metagross. Yeah. Okay. So Metagross is your last one. You're going to have to do a little bit of damage to yourself to... We're still 1 turn of Tailwind, I believe? Yeah. I have Vanillux in the back, though, so I think I have to just spend my efforts targeting the Metagross here. Like, I'm down to just Sacred Fire into Metagross and go for the +2 Bullet Punch into the Tornadus. Because Sacred Fire and Sun, I would think, would KO Metagross. And because we have the Shuca Berry, yeah, okay, they don't go for a Protect. Oh. Wow, that was so much damage. Well, I think because we have Shuca, we should survive the EQ here. Or Stomping Tantrum. So if we survive, we win. If not, we lose. And actually, given that Bullet Punch did that much damage, E-Speed into Tornadus may have been the play. Because then you don't get the policy off, and then we just win. Okay, Entei survives, though. Wow, this was a really fun game. Nice. Sacred Fire comes out, and that's a one-hit KO. Beautiful. Yeah, Entei is a really fun Pokemon in this format, so I'm glad that I was able to put in some work here. Dylan Peters out, but we have Scarfinellux now, and we can just Extreme Speed. Oof. Yeah, this looked like a really scary matchup, but I think what made it a little bit easier was that they didn't lead Tornadus plus something that put on a ton of offensive pressure, so we were able to get a boost off immediately on turn 1, which meant my opponent felt forced to bring in the Heatran, and they probably weren't expecting the Bulldoze on the Entei as well, and so us having the Bulldoze allowed us to get rid of that Shuca Berry immediately. Almost every Heatran I've seen nowadays run Shuca. That was the common set back in the day as well, and with Dynamax it's even better. So, yeah. Could I have gone Extreme Speed Bullet Punch there? The only downside to that play is if Tornadus protects, but I guess Tornadus protecting in that scenario is very unlikely. But also, like, if, for example, if Tornadus has Citrus Berry, which some Tornadus is carried, and we don't pick up the KO, then we just lose the game outright. So, because I had the Shuca, I felt really confident that we would survive a Ground-type attack, even at +2 attack, and that was the case. So, at that point, I think a Sacred Fire miss was the one thing maybe holding us back. Now, one play they could have made was protecting the Metagross, but yeah, I don't think that accomplishes anything, because after the Bullet Punch damage, Extreme Speed will just kill Tornadus, and Entei will actually win that 1v1 against the Metagross in that endgame, especially if the Weakness Policy doesn't go off. But as you saw, even with Weakness Policy going off, it was possible. So yeah, that was definitely a really, really fun match. And I think, you know, it goes to show that even against suboptimal matchups, you can find your ways to play around it. That being said, you know, it does feel limiting where, like, I feel like there's no way for me to create a extreme advantage on turn 1. The best is with that Spectre Metagross, but even that doesn't feel like super, you know, consistent. Whoa. This is a cool team. I feel like I'm playing against the 2013 or 2015 team right now with the first 5 Pokemon. Cinderace is brutal for this team, though. Like, I do not know what we do against Cinderace. At best, we can bulldoze, but this has just not been a kind set of games for Zolt. Like, I just can't bring it into these matchups. And once again, this duel is like really good against teams that are either don't have weather or don't have great resists, but in this, my opponent has both, which is a little sad. Vanillux Terrakion, I'm actually considering low-key. But that might be a little troll. The reason why is because, like, if my opponent doesn't lead the Excadrill, I can just beat up, or Icy, like, for example, one play I could make is Scarf Icy Wind into Rockfall into Cinderace. I don't know if my opponent ever sees that coming. But they could easily just get around it by leading the Excadrill. Like, Excadrill looks so good on paper against us here, right? Yeah, I don't think I can risk leading Vanillux, as tempting as it is. Okay, I'm gonna go Spectrier, Terrakion, Vanillux, and Metagross? That doesn't feel right. I guess it's Entei. Who do I Dynamax in this game? Because, like, Metagross feels like an awkward Dynamax Pokemon, given that it doesn't do that much. Well, I guess I could actually have gotten away with bringing Metagross, but, like, against a Cinderace, Excadrill, both of those outspeed and just can two-shot us, which is really, really alarming. Either way, it's a really cool team composition from my opponent's end. I love the Pokemon. That's Cinderace, Excadrill. Yeah, I mean, if I just went Vanillux Terrakion here, I would just lose turn 1, I think. So, it was not worth the risk. Okay. Now, this is interesting because I can, like, bulldoze turn 1. What do you do here for my opponent? Honestly, the play I'm leaning towards turn 1 is Protect Bulldoze. It covers... I mean, it just guarantees that Terrakion can outspeed next turn. Unless you max Cinderace and you max Airstream? That'd actually be a problem. Would you really max Cinderace here turn 1? I don't know. My opponent... Like, both Cinderace and Excadrill are so good against us offensively, so... I feel like I need to make some non-standard plays to try to get around it. Okay, they switch out Cinderace, which makes me think T-Tar's coming in. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Maybe I'm okay with this. Well, what does Excadrill go for? Maybe it's just a Steel Spike into... Ooh, they don't max. That's interesting. I think that's the right move, actually, on their end, too. Ah, wow. I just Iron-Headed into Spectrier. And they flinch! That's a really bad flinch. I don't know what to do, actually, after that. I needed the speed drop so I can go Vanillux. I mean, I could still go Vanillux here. Maybe that is the play. Maybe the play is to max here. Ah, that's such a bad flinch. Because it would have broken a Sash on Excadrill as well. Now, granted, it might have activated a policy on Tyranitar, but I feel like we can play our way around Tyranitar. This doesn't feel right. I'm switching into Vanillux and going for Max Knuckle on Excadrill, hoping they don't Dynamax it. But, I don't know. Like, turn 1, obviously, I could have just launched a close combat there outright. That's really read heavy, though, but given that the matchup is a little shaky, that may have been the play. Wow, they actually just withdraw into Rotom. Are they maxing Excadrill then? The one upside is my opponent does not have a fighting resist. But I wonder if Max Knuckle plus hail damage actually can KO an Excadrill. I don't think so, but let's see. Close combat may have been the move, but the thing is I didn't want to just take an Iron Head. They also might just Dynamax the Excadrill out right here. I think that'd actually be a really solid play. Good idea to conserve the Tyranitar there, too. Okay, they don't Dynamax, which honestly I'm probably happy about. Oh, wow. And we just one-shot there. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Maybe we're back in business then. Wait. Vanillux being out here for us is so good right now. Because we have Choice Scarf, Icy Wind. So if they bring out Cinderace, I can just Icy Wind, Rockfall to KO the Cinderace immediately. And Terrakion will destroy Rotom and Tyranitar right now. Okay. That turn worked out so well. Like, even better than I had anticipated. I think it's just Scarf Icy Wind right now into Max Rockfall onto Cinderace. Unless we don't outspeed Cinderace, but I'm pretty sure we do. Because this outspeeds Dragon Pult. So, yeah. I think that's just by far the best play here. If Cinderace maxes and they attack, they lose the game instantly. But even if your Rotom maxes, like, by changing the weather into sand, Rotom's never going to KO us anyway, even with, like, a Max Geyser. And so Terrakion is the heavy carry now. I honestly thought my opponent could have just Dynamax Excadrill in this game. But I think maybe they were hesitant of maxing it because of the potential switch-ins I had into, you know, the resists. Like, namely, resisting the Steel-type attacks with Metagross, for example. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, nice play there. The thing is, because I have Bulldoze... Oh, wait, I just thought about this. This team has, I'm sad about that. Okay, good play. I don't regret going for it because I think it's a game-winning play. I'm more so impressed that they honestly did not walk into it. But if we one-shot Tyranitar here... I also could have just targeted Rotom there, but I think I have to target the Cinderace. The one thing I didn't mention earlier is that because we have White Herb, we can actually Bulldoze... Is that one-shot? Ooh, nice. That's huge. Yeah, because now I can just Bulldoze, and I don't get the speed drop. They go for Hydro Pump into Vanillux. Okay, so I wonder if they knew it's Scarfed. But that does not come close to KOing. Nice. The only way my opponent can get around this Icy Wind stuff now is if you Sucker Punch. But if you Sucker Punch, I just KO the Cinderace. If you Protect here, that's fine. Wow, I did not think we'd be in this kind of position, but we'll take it. Especially because I have dual Bulldoze here in the endgame. And Spectre outspeeds Cinderace. I think all I have to do here is just go for a Rockfall onto Cinderace and another Icy Wind. I think what my opponent may play towards now is hoping for an Icy Wind miss and just one-shot Terrakion. But they don't Protect. They don't Dynamax in either, though. Oh, okay, I see. I think they didn't Dynamax because what they were going for here was Icy Wind miss into High Jump Kick, because otherwise they couldn't knock out the Terrakion. It's White Herb? Oh. Okay, but Terrakion survives. Well, that was... Oh my goodness. I was like, no way. Oh wait, but they survived now. Hold on. But I have Extreme Speed, so I think we're fine, right? What a roller coaster of emotions right now. I think Extreme Speed should KO. Yeah, there's no way you survive an E-Speed, right? Wait, let's make sure we bring out the right Poke. I mean, I could just go into Spectrier. Now, my opponent hasn't Dynamax yet, right? So I have to keep that in mind. But I think Extreme Speed into close combat here is pretty safe. Even if you max Cinderace, I'm pretty sure Extreme Speed KOs. Man, it was White Herb Cinderace. That's nuts. That is nuts. I wonder if Rotom could have gotten away with Dynamaxing last... No, it was a good decision not to Dynamax with either Pokemon. Yeah, they Dynamax Rotom. Okay. But that means E-Speed is definitely KOing... Oh, unless you have Protect here. Wait, if you actually have Protect as well with White Herb, Okay, it doesn't. My heart can't handle this right now. Alright, we have a +1 close combat now into Rotom. I don't know if this KOs. But I don't think Rotom can pick up enough KOs in enough turns now. Because it needs to get 3 attacks off. Yeah, there's no way it can do enough now. Oh my goodness, this game was nuts. Okay, Max Geyser, that's fine. You have to target Entei. I mean, sorry, Terrakion here, otherwise you lose. And ooh, they target Entei. So I guess they were hoping that Cinderace would, wouldn't go down. They probably weren't expecting Extreme Speed, actually, so they were thinking they could just pick up a double KO there. So, nice. But even if Terrakion went down there, I think Spectrier with Entei, I can just Shadow Ball Extreme Speed, and regardless of which one you KO, either attack will finish off Rotom in the last turn. But this was a crazy game. Like, I saw Cinderace and I saw Excadrill, I was like, how do we deal with these? And somehow neither of those Pokemon ended up Dynamaxing, which I have to say I did not anticipate. I think Excadrill, if it maxed here, would have been really bad for us. So I'm very glad. And I also didn't think Max Knuckle would just one-shot Excadrill. I was also expecting Focus Sash on that. So I'm very curious on what the item was on that. But that was a banger of a match. That was crazy. Yeah. I just really, really want to bring out the Arctozolt a little bit more, but at least Entei and Terrakion have been putting a lot of work. Terrakion's a really interesting option in Series 7 because, there are a fair amount of flying types that players are using. G-Moltres, a lot of top players were prioritizing in the earlier weeks. I guess it's only been 2 weeks of Series 7. Okay, finally, this might be a game for Hail, because they don't have any resists to Ice other than Glastrier. Although yesterday in Game 3, I brought Hail and I got dunked on. So I don't know. But I actually feel okay with it here, I think. Yeah. Rillaboom is actually maybe what I'm scared about here. What's also tough is if I'm bringing Hail, Spectre, Sash loses a lot of its viability. But I guess I probably don't bring it here, right? Like, I think Metagross probably comes out. Entei Metagross feels like the right two. Terrakion actually feels really good here. If my opponent didn't have Whimsicott, I would definitely lead Vanillux Terrakion, I think, for beat up. Vanillux, Zolt. I mean, Entei's damage is not bad. It's such a physically oriented team, too. Can I really bring out Terrakion when there's Intimidate plus Rillaboom? I guess the other question is, does my opponent bring out Rillaboom against what I have? What do you bring if you're my opponent, actually? I have no idea. I guess you could just go the Trick Room route. Yeah, if they went the Trick Room route, aren't I screwed by leading Hail? Maybe. Maybe I'm walking into a trap here. Alright, let's try Entei Terrakion. Because they could go like Rillaboom Porygon and just Trick Room, bring out Glastrier, and sweep me. Like, I see the Whimsicott and the Moltres, and I think they go with the Tailwind route, but now that I think about it, given that I didn't lead Metagross, Trick Room would actually be really good here for them. So, let's see if Porygon comes out. Okay, well, this is ideal, I would say. Now, granted, it's going to be a Tailwind for sure on turn 1, right? But I can click Blizzard with both of these Pokemon right now. And that's pretty solid. Yeah. Okay. Well, they know I'm Scarfed. I also know Landorus isn't Scarfed, but that's not super surprising. Assault Vest would be my best bet. I think if you're my opponent, honestly, you Tailwind Max Quake into the Zolt. I'm just going to double Blizzard here. I'm not going to risk it. This is such a good offensive position to be in turn 1. Landorus could also protect as Whimsicott Tailwinds. I think that's also viable, and that would actually be really bad because then you get a free switch in and 3 turns of Dynamax to work with. Okay, they don't max. Are they just Rock Sliding? Or EQing? U-turn. Okay. I'll take that. I mean... the thing is, now I have to stall things out a little bit to beat Landorus in this late game. And they bring out Glastrier under Tailwind. Okay, that's really interesting. So we get Blizzard off. Whimsicott's going to go down. It was not Focus Sashed either. That's interesting. How fast is your Glastrier here? I mean, I don't even know if you outspeed me, given that I'm Scarfed and, yeah. Scarfed and Slush Rush. Okay, I mean, obviously this was a solid turn 1, but now my opponent does have Tailwind now, so I'm gonna have to play around that. Landorus just comes back out. Huh. I don't know if my opponent doesn't expect me to be, like, super speedy. I guess they could just Rock Slide here. Entei and Terrakion are great. They're fantastic to have against Glastrier. Not great Dynamax options here. Like, I'm leaning towards just clicking Double Blizzard again. The other play here is to play a little bit more passively with the Glastrier and protect it. Sorry, not Glastrier. The Zolt. I don't know, though. Like, I like Double Blizzard here. Especially if, like, Glastrier maxes. Because if we KO Landorus, I would think we win the game with the 2 Pokemon we have in the back. But maybe it's Speedy Glastrier. Okay, they do Dynamax Glastrier. This is very interesting. I don't think you outspeed the Zolt or the Vanillux, honestly. But I think they maybe just click Rock Slide here. Yeah. Can we survive? Or not get flinched? Okay. KO's the Zolt. That's fine if we don't get flinched here by Vanillux. Unless they actually outspeed us now. Yeah, okay, yeah, they don't outspeed. Huge. Okay, so we get the KO onto Landorus. That's good. That would have been the reason to protect, right? They go for Knuckle. The reason I didn't want to protect there was to just guarantee a knockout onto Landorus. I mean, I just don't know how fast this Glastrier is. Like, this thing's space speed is so low, I don't even think you outspeed the Terrakion or the Entei, even under Tailwind. But it's at +2 attack now, right? So this thing is a huge offensive threat. There's a potential Rillaboom in the back as well, which could be very bad. Now, I haven't Dynamaxed yet, though, which is very interesting. Oh, it's Moltres. Okay, I'm happy to see Moltres, I think, because that does no damage into what I have right now. Okay, so given that you brought out Moltres, I think I just Dynamaxed Terrakion. I don't know if Knuckle Sacred Fire or Rockfall Sacred Fire is better, because Knuckle gives the attack boost onto the Entei. It's definitely Sacred Fire into Glastrier. I mean, this is pretty predictable, I guess. But Glastrier being at +2, I feel like really commands a lot of respect. I think Rockfall plus Sacred Fire will do enough here. So the big question here is whether Glastrier max guards or not. I think, like, in my opponent's shoes, that's a pretty easy max guard to make. But the problem is I can't play passively and just, like, double protect with both of my Pokemon. Because if I do and Glastrier attacks, I'm really in trouble. The thing is, Terrakion's very good against both of what my opponent has out right now. I don't think Ninetales can even 2-shot Entei, to be honest, with Air Slash, but if you're running Hurricane, maybe you can. You can also flinch. That's what I'm nervous about right now. But I don't think... You're not going to go for Brutal Swing. Not Brutal Swing. I keep calling it Brutal Swing. Fiery Wrath, because that would just activate a Policy... Not Policy. Okay, never mind. They went for it. Well, they just activated Justified, so I think that should be game then. Yeah. Unless the Glastrier is actually really speedy here. But yeah, it's like... The space 30, right? Even if you're max speed, like, there's only so much you can outspeed. Okay, nice. Wow. I am really surprised to see Glastrier with the Tailwind route, honestly, because, like, it would have made a lot more sense with Porygon in my eyes, right? I'm happy to see it not come out here, but I have to wonder if my opponent just led Porygon, what would have happened in this game. So we get the Sacred Fire off. That's so much damage. Okay, burning Glare and Moltres has got to be one of the weirdest feelings in this game. Like, it just feels abnormal. Because it still feels like a fire type to me. But we can just Extreme Speed. I actually really love the Entei set here. Entei has been the MVP today. I mean, Terrakion's been very good as well, but Entei's come up huge for us in all of these games. So we can just E-Speed and go for Rockfall now. Okay, somehow we played around another Tailwind matchup. But... I still feel like it's not optimal. Like I'm scared right from turn 1, and I'm nervous going into these, but we'll take it. But we have time for a fourth. The Hail Duel was actually really good for us in this game because Blizzard spam was just like Glastrier took 40% switching in on turn 1, right? That's the thing about Blizzard spam. If you lead Pokemon that can't Dynamax and don't resist the Ice type attacks, then you feel compelled to just switch out immediately on turn 1, and that works in our favor. So, yeah. I think the only play I would have done differently in that game was maybe protecting the Zolt, but otherwise I don't think I would have changed anything else. I mean, even if my opponent just went for a flying type attack there, they would have needed to like flinch or crit into Entei, because the double up should just KO the Glastrier there. So, I mean, that's why... Well, it's funny, because I actually had Glastrier with my Whimsicott team previously, right? And the idea of it is to deter opposing Trick Room teams or bring it against the Trick Room matchup. This is a cool team. Pelipper Golduck. Wow, it has been a long time since I've seen that duel. But, yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorite combos in VGC 2017, and one of my first rain teams that I used had that. I used, what I have, Pelipper Golduck, Lele Metagross. Yeah. So that's cool to see. Now, this is interesting, because they have Regieleki. Yeah, that's another Pokemon that this team doesn't love going up against because of the natural speed control, the Electro Web. But Zolt here does not seem too bad. Okay, I do think that, like, Trick Room is scary here. Wow, this is so interesting because it's like if you go Trick Room, Pelipper, Golduck, Regieleki are pretty fast. I guess you could go, like, Rillaboom, Regieleki, Dusclops, Glastrier. Yeah, that works. Metagross is still decent here despite the waters. Like, I kind of want to go Spectre and Metagross lead. I'm not, like, Terrakion, Entei, well, Entei doesn't feel like it's it. Terrakion could be it, but I'm down for a Hail Duel in the back. Let's try this out. That team is really cool from my opponent's end, though. Like, that's one of the coolest combinations of Pokemon I've seen in a while. Just not something I would have ever expected to go up against. So, I love Series 7 right now. Like, I feel like it's just super fun to play, and there are so many different, you know, Pokemon are viable. And yes, you know, obviously, some of the legendary Pokemon, a lot of players like using, like Tapu Fini, Golduck, Regieleki. So, like, the thing with this is you could just Volt Switch into Pelipper and get your rain up immediately. Ooh, actually, a really sick play my opponent can play is Volt Switch into Spectre and then just Water type attack into that slot as well. But if they don't anticipate Focus Sash, I can Bulldoze here. Like, I think it's a Bulldoze regardless, and a Max Quake into Golduck. Yeah, I like that play. Golduck is maxing, I think. Wait. Does Regieleki... Okay, never mind. I was thinking, actually, one cool thing my opponent could have done is Scarf Golduck into Slow Regieleki with Soak. But either way, it's cool to go up against Max Golduck here. What's my best option against Max Golduck on this team? It honestly might still be Metagross. Oh, it's Arc Assault, actually. That's the correct answer there. Oh, maybe I didn't need a Dynamax then. Well, I mean, Arc Assault's still good in this late game. But that's neat. Yep. Oh, they Volt Switch into Metagross, though. Okay, great. That means, like, oh, unless you're Max Geyser, just one-shots Metagross here. Because that Volt Switch did a lot. Did a lot. Oh, boy. If it just one-shots, it's just, GG. Go next. I didn't think this duo, like, the combination would pick up a knockout. But if you're, like, Life Orb, you really might just pick up the knockout here. Oh, gosh. Oh no, I'm gonna KO myself from Bulldoze. It was Life Orb too, but oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's a sad one. Okay, hold on. It's time to sweep with Spectre. This is actually still far from over because I have Vanillux and Zolt in the back. Oh, I can't believe it. It might have been Specs Regieleki too. That Volt Switched a lot. Like, that was the maximum amount of damage I think maybe what Metagross could have taken. Yeah, I think we actually needed to max Zolt in this game. Why didn't I actually? Now that I think about it, I feel like it's by far the better Pokemon to max. Well, that was funny. I can bring out Vanillux. Result. Let's go Vanillux. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting baited by having this special attack boost on Spectre too, because like, I can freeze dry. Oh, here's the other interesting thing. What if I just double up onto Golduck with Shadow Ball Freeze Dry outright right now? Because I think Pelipper maybe considers switching out. The other play I was considering was like Snarl Blizzard. But if like Peli switches out, and I just KO Golduck, that would be huge. The safe play is probably like Max Guard Golduck, switch out Pelipper. I don't regret that turn 1, but I do think this was actually maybe a perfect game for Zolt to Dynamax, and I don't know why I didn't think about that going into this match. Okay, yeah, Pelipper switches out. If Zolt does not protect here, that's Rillaboom, I believe. Okay. Yeah, if Zolt does, or sorry, not Zolt. If Golduck does not protect and we just pick up the KO, we are easily back into this. I just don't know if we pick up the KO even with this double up. Let's see. Ah, they did Max Guard. Okay, good play. It was worth going for because we were behind in this game, but given the 4 Pokemon my opponent brought, Arctozolt actually could have swept all of it. So that should have been the Dynamax game. I did not think a double would KO Metagross on turn 1, so I thought we were super safe. Could have even just like protected Metagross outright. Okay. I think I have to switch out the Vanillux here, actually. They know I have Freeze Dry. Oh, I mean, do you just switch the Rillaboom back out? That would be interesting. I want to Shadow Ball Rillaboom and go out into Zolt. Oh, I'm so sad. This was the perfect game for Zolt. What did my opponent have that maybe not want to max it? Do they have a Metagross on their team? Oh, interesting. They stayed in. Okay. So they go for Fake Out. Oh, that could have been an opportunity to Snarl. That actually would have been a really nice opportunity to Snarl. It's Berry Rillaboom. Interesting. Okay. Goes for Geyser here. See if that KOs. I'm sure it KOs if you're targeting the Vanillux slot, yeah. Ah, we lost our best Pokemon and we did nothing with it. I feel so bad. I did not do Arctozolt justice in this game. I mean, this game would have been really tough to win after that turn 1, so the fact that it even feels potentially doable is kind of funny to me. Like, I'm not counting Spectre out just yet. I wonder if Snarl would have allowed us to survive that attack. It might have. So that may have been the play. I was hoping to just one-shot the Rillaboom there, but it ended up surviving and had the berry too, which is a little unfortunate. Oh, at least we saw that they're Dynamax. But I played way too carelessly on that turn 1. I just also haven't seen Golduck in this format at all, so I was like, oh, it's been a while. My old friend. I guess the main... Yeah, okay. The actual answer of why Arctozolt didn't feel super good was because of Dusclops plus Glastrier, like Trick Room. But I think we could have still maybe led Arctozolt if you set up Trick Room. No, I don't know. I felt like I needed to put on pressure with Metagross in the early game. Maybe Vanillux actually still outspeeds Golduck because I have the Scarf and they have this speed drop. So I'm just going to Shadow Ball Rillaboom here. And I think we just go Freeze Dry here. Yeah. Yeah, if I can outspeed Gold... Okay, ooh, they switch... That's a good switch. You go out into Pelipper. Yeah, makes sense. And then probably just glide into the Vanillux. Which I don't think would be a KO, but now with Rain being up, I can't deal with the Golduck anymore, I think. Yep. Ah, I trolled so hard on that first turn. I should have thought about that more. Especially with that lead. Yeah, it's Sash Pelipper too. Okay, like I pick up the KO and get to +2, but the thing is that now Spectre is outsped by my opponent's team, so there's nothing we can do. I mean, to lose by Dynamax the way I did is just really bad. I'm really curious about the item on Regieleki. Was it Specs? It did so much damage with the Volt Switch, but maybe it was like Magnet. I think that could also make a lot of sense. So against the 4 Pokemon my opponent brought, Zolt would have been really good. I was worried about Glastrier under Trick Room. So like Rillaboom Dusclops, for example. I guess Zolt can still like Blizzard, but the thing is that Zolt doesn't really do very much damage into the Dusclops, and then you can just bring out the Glastrier if you get Trick Room up and Sweep Me, and that's a problem. Bring out Regieleki. That should just outspeed us here, I think. I can't even protect, so... I think I can hope for my opponent to, like, toss this and go for an Electro Web, miss on the Glastrier Spectrier, and then I pick up a double KO with Freeze Dry and Snarl. But they should just Thunderbolt. Like, go for any 100% accurate attack here. Unless Regieleki... No, I think even if you were, like, had no... Literally, like, negative speed investment on Regieleki, you still outspeed us. So... Yeah, that's the tough thing about Arctozolt. They go Volt Switch... Okay, into... Spectre. That was actually surprising. I mean, if I had Protect there... Actually, we could have won. Because if I just Protect there, you bring in Golduck... Oh, I guess the Pelipper... I only pick up 1 KO, and then you have 2 Pokemon that can do a lot of damage. I bet Freeze Dry picks up the KO here. The Max Guard play was really good on the Golduck end. Like, I could have punished the Rillaboom the turn it switched in. I was hoping for my opponent to play a little bit aggressively. And they just go Hurricane. Okay, yeah, that'll be game. Well, Golduck is back, and it's like VGC 2017, but instead of Water Gem, now it's Life Orb. Which isn't super surprising. But that was a fun one. I think well played by my opponent. They maintained the weather really, really well, and I think I'm disappointed because Arctozolt could have been really good here against these specific 4. I think it's always important to ask after a game, like, did I just bring the wrong Pokemon outright? Like, was it a mistake just not leading Arctozolt outright? And I think my lead gave me options against everything, whereas if I led Arctozolt Vanillux, I get really wrecked by Trick Room with the Dusclops lead. Because the idea behind Spectrier and Metagross is if you lead Trick Room, we can make the same play I made yesterday, which was like Dynamax, Phantasm, and Ironhead into the Dusclops slot. So my lead covered for every option. As soon as I saw it, though, I should have read into the Volt Switch play turn 1 and to double up onto the Metagross. Because, yeah, I could have just gone Bulldoze Protect turn 1. That may have been better. Or even just not Dynamax the Metagross. Like, if I just sack Metagross, get the Zolt in for free, and then Dynamax that, I think that's actually also totally an acceptable play. So... the main mistake in this game was Dynamaxing turn 1. I really because the thing is, even if they don't KO there, you do so much damage to the point where, like, yeah, I get a Max Quake off, but then I only get 1 turn of Dynamax effectively. So I think if I were to replay this, I'd actually still lead the same thing, and I would basically sack Metagross to get a free switch into the Zolt instead, and then we try to sweep with Zolt. I think that's probably the better course of action to take here. But definitely a fun game and a really cool team. So yeah, props to my opponent there. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will catch you all next time. All right, peace.